Round two. See, now this is the best part. No one knows about what happens before the final cut because I had to do that twice. And it fucks up the rhythm, but that's fine. Have we already said too many fucks within the first few seconds? Yes. Is that fine? Yes. Are we trying to make money off of this? No. This is non-profit level. Anyway, what are we doing here? This is the Young Talk Podcast, episode 20-8, New World, Still Black. Now, there is so many things that I could actually talk about today. There's so many things that I could actually take advantage of when it comes to this podcast. Considering that the last time we spoke on this podcast was in 2020, December 27th, right? I was reviewing that episode to just get a gauge of what we were talking about, what was interesting at the time, what was happening at the time, how we were feeling. And it's crazy. We're in 2025, and it's so surreal to hear what 6'1", Daddy Dark, and myself talk about during that time period. We talk about things that we're going to cover today, but we also just the state of the world at that point was crazy. The craziest thing that we talked about in that entire episode, okay, was the fappening. Now, I didn't even realize that was like something that I caught that on recording, that I caught our initial thoughts about that. And so where are we now when it comes to the fappening? Well, since then, things haven't really gotten better. And this is where we really see the evolution, right? Because in the episode, we talked about the reasons for the fappening, the reasons for the taking off of massive amount of contents, the effects it may have. This was when OnlyFans was barely jumping off the ground. I want to get into all of that. I want to get into like the what came of Cyberpunk, what came of the fappening, what came of the Gamer Awards with the last of, right? Because if you are a follower of Father B content, you know that I've covered things within this realm, right? Hell, this episode might end up on the twitch.tv/FatherB channel. But irregardless if it doesn't, the world has gone through so many different changes. And I was working today trying to think. I was like, well, I do want to like do something, but I have all these different things that we've started, but I haven't concluded, or just things that are like, this is like the very first podcast, right? But we've had other ones. We've had at least 2 other ones, and each one is kind of different. And with this one, at least where I remember where we left off, was it was more of us just talking about life, versus the other one, the loss and dysfunction, is more so talking about the issues that Generation Z faces within a certain time period, right? So this one, I'm like, we could talk about some shit here. We could just kind of pop off with some shit here. Now, where is Daddy Dark and 6'1"? Well, they aren't dead, so don't worry. They're not missing. They're perfectly safe, I'm sure. Daddy Dark and 6'1" are just off living their life, right? Like I said, we stopped doing this podcast in 2020, right? So clearly, if you were alive during 2020, then shit happened. It's just life was way too chaotic at that time. Life is still way too chaotic at this time. Gas prices still way too high. Fear in society way too strong. But it's all good. I'm pretty sure that Daddy Dark and 6'1" are doing great things in their life right now, and that they are hopefully finding ways to find fulfillment within the reality and the chaos of the shit that we deal with. Now, they're not black, right? So I think when it comes to what has and hasn't happened in these past few years, they're probably fine. They're probably fine. I mean, 6'1", not so much, because he has a little bit, he's like kind of Mexican, I think. But, we're already starting off way too racist. Okay, changing topics. They are fine. They're just not here. This will, whether we continue actually doing, my goal, let me just backtrack. My goal with reviving this thing is I want to make it hit 100 episodes. If this is episode 28, then, we only got however many episodes left. And I want to just kind of put a chapter on this podcast itself, just because I wouldn't want to do this thing without them anyway. But I'm like, it doesn't feel like it's completed, and I'm not going to force them or ask them to stop their life to come and do this thing for an hour if I can just yap myself for an hour. I've been practicing for like 3-4 years now, so I think I got it knocked down. Um, that's so I don't know if we'll ever see them on this podcast at any point. Maybe we will. Maybe by episode 50, we would have like we surpassed 2 million viewers, and then they'll be like, "Hey, I need some of that screen time." Then it's like, cool. But otherwise, we just got me, which is fine. Let me see. I have so many things that we have to like just recap and catch up on, and I'm trying to condense it to where it's within an hour. I don't want this to be a super long recap, because 4 to 5 years is way too long to try to recap. I don't give a fuck for 5 years. You know what I mean? We're going to go over some of the more significant highlights in terms of things that have happened within my own existence and within the state of the world. So I got a little list of things. I came a little prepared. Was the list made within like 5 minutes of hitting record? Yes, but it's concise. You know. Um. So we talked about the fappening, and okay. So we in that episode we talk about OnlyFans for a brief minute. Like I remember I mentioned that people, when it comes to what happened with the whole Pornhub situation, people are just gonna go to OnlyFans, and then the whole industry in that regard is probably just gonna go up. Now, we didn't understand at the time just how insane this shit was going to go. The sexualization of society has actually gotten so degenerate online that I don't think we could have fully understand the combination of things that were going on. Because right now, what you have in at least these past couple of years is this these feelings of isolate, not just isolation, right? People are out of the isolation now. Now it's the loneliness. Now it's the struggle for financial gain. Now it's the uncertainty of the future, right? Whereas we've evolved emotions, and as a result of those fearful negative emotions that we've evolved, now comes these coping mechanisms, which is the addictions and the internet and the OnlyFans and all that. Like, all this stuff has only gotten worse due to the effects of everything from before, which I was thinking about. I'm like, this is crazy, because yeah, you got people probably like, I think OnlyFans is probably worth more now than it did in 2020, right? Obviously. And a lot of that is attributed to not like a lot of that isn't even attributed to the quarantine. It's attributed to the statistics on men and depression and the amount of loneliness that they feel, to the amount of statistics on women and validation and their body sensitivities and things like that. And then you have all these other layers, which I never factored in. These other layers of this new generation of let's just call them sex workers, of this new generation of sex workers, where they're entering the industry of people who are already damaged and flawed. Now take a new generation of these people entering this industry, who were already probably somewhat flawed, but are now double flawed because of shit like COVID or bad politics or whatever. And then you got them now doing this shit, not just because, well, my dad used to hit me when I was a child, but I'm doing this shit now because it's the only way I can put food on the table, right? So there's this like unique evolution of depression happening for both men and women within what I would say is the true weaknesses of the aspects of their gender, which is crazy to me, because on the opposite end of this, we talk about video games in that past episode. And when I think about it, Cyberpunk, we talked about Cyberpunk and the Game Awards and Last of Us 2. We're going to get to The Last of Us 2. That's a whole different situation. But I'm like, on the opposite end of that, you had people playing games back in quarantine. Gaming used to be a very positive escape for people, especially back then. Now it seems almost like a disappointing escape. like where it's I can't speak too much to the online space because I'm not playing too many online games these days. Last time I was on Rivals or anything like that, it was fine. But to me, online games are just better when you can fill the whole squad at this point. Like that's something that's changed, right? I used to be able to hop into any game, any lobby, right? Solo queue, do fine, have fun, irregardless. But I think the dynamic that's changed is that feeling of playing the game with your boys, right? Being able to hop online and the way that games work nowadays, where a lot of games are more integrated to playing with each other versus yourself. It's like when you play games like Marvel Rivals or I'll put Dead by Daylight in there. Fuck it. Whatever. Like there is a certain unique element that gets added when you can actually hook in, like connect with the boys and win a game or two. And so I'm like, since everybody these days is way too busy to actually game for as much as we used to back then, right? That doesn't really happen anymore. Everybody is either too staggered, too tired, or just unavailable to be able to game like the ways that would make sense. And so I can't speak to the online gamer space. But when it comes to the gaming space in general, what I hear from people is the exhaustion or the like they don't have the desire to game, right? Like it's almost like it's more work to do than it used to be, which I think is odd. And I know I have the same feeling where you're playing a game, right? And let's say you're playing Rivals, right? Like I don't when Rivals first popped off earlier this year, right? You can play games night after night after night, right? But nowadays I get into Rivals, I start playing, I'll probably play like 1, 2, 3 matches and then I'm done for the day. Like I'm over it. Not like cuz it's a bad game, not cuz I didn't have a good time, but it doesn't hit that level of like I don't know, like dopamine or whatever it is that gets you locked in for the next 7 hours. And there are some people, right, who still can game for hours on end, who could still be in those spaces like all night, all day, whatever. But I noticed like at least among the people in my age group, it's like that's not the case. Like we usually are, I can only play a game for so long before I'm like I want to stop or I'd rather just watch something or it's like my brain is just like I don't want to do this anymore. And it's a weird feeling to have because at first I was like, is it me? Am I like aging out of games or are games just bad? I know we are in a state of games right now where we have shit like stop killing games, where we have people advocating for players to be able to own games, which is a huge deal, right? We didn't talk about that back then, but it's always been a problem, the ability for a consumer to buy a product and own that product versus that product being a temporary purchase and that not being made clear, right? And that's more of an issue with digital games versus buying physical games. People don't buy physical games like that anymore, right? It's very rare. It's very rare. And that only became more of a problem as the PS5 came out because of the whole digital versus physical edition type shit, right? And I think I even remember talking about whether it was on the podcast or just among friends where it was like I prefer the digital one, right? And I forgot what my reasons was for like opposing the physical media because I was like the digital one is I think it was just at the time more convenient and like a concept where it was like you don't have to worry about having a place to put these. They don't take up space outside of what's on the console. You could have thousands of them, right? Versus only being able to keep on to like 200 or whatever. And I was like, that's cool. But nowadays, I'm like, I wish I have my PS5 it could take CDs. Made that choice specifically not for games but for movies. So to me, but looking at the way games in the industry is going these days, I'm like, I'm glad I have the option for physical media because this whole stop killing game situation is bringing more attention to people to where it's like, there is no guarantee that the games you purchase online are going to be yours. Like they could take it away. They could block access to it. They could cut off the servers. And I think it's a difficult thing to fix when it comes to the industry level because it's like what consumers could be asking for, and I could be wrong here, is that what they're asking for is like being able to access this game, forever without the need of the industry to like keep in updates and all that. And that's a lot to ask. It's like, because that's just not how games typically work in some case. I don't know. I don't think that's like, I think it's more of a tall order to ask. I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's hard. And I think there's a reason why they don't do that, because as much as we would love to keep, Halo 1 servers up forever, that those servers have to function somewhere. That power has to be generated somewhere, irregardless. We can't just, even if we just wanted to leave it off to the side. So I'm like, I get it. It's more of a hassle to figure that out. But we are at a point to where I think as you're not only getting new gamers, right? As the years have gone on, but you're getting gamers that are aging. So what does that mean? That means that all the people that were gaming when they were 15 and 2008, 2009, it's 2025. They're like 30 now. And then in 20 years, they're going to be like 50. And guess what? They're still going to want to play those same games that they grew up on, retro gaming type shit. So you're going to have that. You're going to have an even bigger player base because you're now not appealing to the current market, but to the older generation of gamers. And we're starting to see that. Like, there are people who have been gaming since gaming was invented, and they're still alive, buying the most recent games, emulating OG games, all of it, right? And that number only increases as those younger ages grow up and, still have that joy for games. So the question of online content not being accessible after a while versus just making physical media or something is relevant, right? And so I think the solution to that would be like, I don't know, if you put like the multiplayer shit, make it all LAN based or something. Put it all on a CD to where it's like it's all LAN based. You can buy this physical copy, but there will be no updates to it. You can't play online with people. You have to be in the same room. Something, I don't know, something to that extent to where, yeah, it's in the player's hands to be able to play with each other, play solo. I don't fucking know. But when it comes to the state of games, to me, that's like the biggest thing that's happening right now. At least industry wise, gaming wise, Death Stranding 2, right? At the time, Cyberpunk was the biggest flop. Since then, Cyberpunk has become one of the best revitalized games, in my opinion, right? We have not only the edge runners that we talked about, but now you got the DLC. Now we have there's new DLC coming out. There's been so many quality to life changes that it's more than just a functioning game. It's actually an enjoyable piece of content worth its price. And that's amazing. I didn't think Cyberpunk would be able to do it. I would not have guessed that that game would have recovered. But here we are, and I believe they're going to make another Cyberpunk after that too. I wouldn't be surprised. Shit, make it Cyberpunk 3000. I don't know. But the state of games, is scary because you have shit like the Nintendo Switch 2 breaking, or people like getting bricked out. People, this I don't own a Switch 2 and I don't follow Nintendo industry news, so I don't really fucking know. All I know is that it seems like since the launch of this fucking console, everything has gone wrong with it, to where it's like you buy it, you're just wasting your money. And that's crazy to me, because you had I'm not a Nintendo news person. I'm not going to go into a fucking rant about what they could do with the Nintendo Switch, because frankly, I don't fucking care. Okay? I don't. I'm sorry. What else we got? We're just kind of rattling off here. Why? Because I'm a little rusty. But I feel like we're doing good here. I feel like we're doing good. What else we got? So we got the state of the games. We talked about the stop killing games. We could talk about The Last of Us. So, The Last of Us. Okay. Now, I wish that at the time of talking about The Last of Us on the previous episode, that I went in on this a little bit more. I wish that when I first played the game, I was a little more attuned to some of the things that I talk about, because though I still agree with some of the points I made initially, So much time has changed to where I have such more, even stronger opinions about The Last of Us 2 that I feel like my initial reaction wasn't strong enough. But the best part about it is that since then, I have made quite a bit of content about talking about The Last of Us and the fucking shit show that has both been within the game and within the TV series. Because guess what? Yeah, it's the future. HBO made a show for it, and it's not going well. I When it comes to The Last of Us, like real talk, I get so mixed feelings about this fucking franchise because since then, since 2020, right? I've written my own pilot inspired by The Last of Us well before the show was made, well before HBO and fucking Cuckman got their fucking infested little ideas into it, right? I had my own concepts and inspirations and I worked on that for a very long time. And then I also went back and played The Last of Us 2. And then I remember they announced the show and I was like, "Oh, cool. They're going to do a show." Well, hopefully they get it right. And season 1, amazing, great. Well, actually, I don't know if we'd say amazing. It was great. It was good. It did well, had some nuance, stuck to some of the parts that made the game great. Cool. Now the problem is part 2, right? Not going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 game. Why? I have an entire video that I have spent talking about The Last of Us Part 2. I can link that somewhere. Maybe I can just drop. Here's what I'll do. I'll find a clip from it, insert it here. And this is where I take the credit away from Druckmann. Because here's the thing. Here's the reality that we live in when it comes to The Last of Us. For real, for real. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Joel dying, but I'm saying like clearly people are affected by it, right? And I'm like, this is what's really cool. This is even a criticism. This is just me saying the importance of killing when you kill a character. Lee Everett from The Walking Dead Season 1, Telltale's game, is the best character to give this comparison to. Go ahead and play it. Play it till the end of Season 1 and tell me you don't shed a tear when Lee dies. And that's a game where you are punished for how violent or fair or moral you are throughout it. And even at the end of it, the choice of the character's death is still out of your hands, but how you get there is completely up to you. And that very much makes that character death one of the strongest deaths in a zombie game, zombie movie, whatever, that I've ever seen. Joel was not a bad guy. If he's a bad guy, everybody in this game is a bad guy. So there's no meaning to the theme. There you go. There you go. If you want to see more, check out the full video. That's how we'll do that. So the real problem is The Last of Us show, right? We get to season 2, and this is the biggest concern, is if they're going to handle some of the narrative problems that it had in the game. And I was hopeful, but I already knew wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to fix the things. We love Craig Mazin. Chernobyl was dope. But I don't understand when there's such an obvious problem why it doesn't get fixed. So, season 2 comes out, right? We watch season 1. We premiere it. We watch it. I mean, not season 1. We watch episode 1. It was great. It was awesome. It's fun. It was nice. Episode 2 comes out. Episode 2 is the big episode. It's the episode of Joel's death, right? It's the episode that every gamer has been waiting for the audience to see, because we all know it's coming. We all know that it's going to happen way too soon. You notice how I'm not talking about Bella Ramsey. I'm making it very integral not to do that because there's plenty of hate on her already, and that is not the point of why I hate The Last of Us. That's a whole separate situation. But they do the episode, and we watch it together on stream. And, I said it there. I wrote a whole article about it because, oh yeah, I do that now. That's what we do in 2025. We write film and show articles, right? So I wrote one because this episode, I was like, what's crazy? This episode feels like a season finale. And that's a huge problem because it's episode 2. This feels like a better episode than the pilot did, and it's episode 2. It's not a continuation of episode 1. It's not like a episode 1 from the Valley part 1, episode 2 from the Valley part 2. It's not something like that. 2 separate episodes, right? And you made episode 2 the most interesting episode. This show's gonna fucking suck. Why? Because you killed Joel. Like, aside from, see, episode 2 of The Last of Us is great because it has not only, it actually has action, it has drama, and it's the only episode in the season, from what I can tell, that actually has effort and a little bit of what makes HBO worth watching. It's the only episode in all of season 2 that's like this. Why? Because it's the episode Joel dies. And we watched this episode, and I'm like, the problem I have is that this should not have been episode 2. This should have either been the season finale or the opening. But it's episode 2, and you've killed Joel now. How many episodes is the season going to be? Are we really, do you think that after what just happened with the whole the Jackson and Joel and all this shit, that people are going to be hanging around for another, let's say, 8 to 7 episodes? Doing what? As the person who's played the games, we all know where this is going. It's going to be a slow fucking burn of Ellie doing whatever that no one cares about, right? The only hope could be her going on this revenge thing and maybe killing a few people on the way. That's like the only exciting thing you can actually expect. But I only say that from the gaming standpoint. You feel me? Not the story standpoint, to where within, like, when it comes to TV, right? You can have action. You can have a lot. You can't have too much of it. You have to have time for it to breathe. So the problem is, in the game, there's more action than time to breathe, believe it or not. And you can't do that in the show. It has to be either balanced or more towards time to breathe. And I did not watch the rest of the episodes after episode 2 because I was like, oh, this is like the finale, dude. You shouldn't watch what happens after this. After Joel dies, the show's done. Like, that's, I'm not, I have never worked on a major television network, right? I don't have that credit. But I did go to school, and I did analyze critically storytelling and narrative structure and characters, main characters, and zombie movies. Not only from just being a fan, and when you kill a character like Joel, right? When you kill a character, or a character gets what they want, that's the end of the movie. When it's the main character, if they die or they get what they want, that's the end of the movie. Because mentally, we're going to check out after that. If they get what they want, once they get that, the movie ends. Joel dies, the movie ends. If he's gotten because if you're killing him, you're saying he's reached the end of his story. The Last of Us is Joel's story. You kill him, shit's over. Doesn't matter. You cannot continue this show or game without him. It cannot be a Ellie heavy story. She's not strong enough of a character to lead, right? So I understood this going in. And so episode 2 drops. We let it happen. People love it. People are raving about it. People are giving the actor that plays Tommy all types of standing ovations. It's wonderful. I'm like, all right, I'm done watching the show, but you guys, if you keep watching, good luck. Because I promise you, this is as good as it's gonna get. It's like, the episode is nothing short of showing you that this is as great as this show's going to be. Now, I did not watch the rest of the episodes. I decided this week. I was like, you know what? Now that the show's done, now that the season's done, Let me check it out. Right? And the other reason I decided to check it out was because fucking Neil Druckmann decided to step down from Naughty Dog. I mean, from Naughty Dog, from the series. He decided to walk away from the fucking show just ahead of season, as the articles say, just ahead of season 3. You know, to focus on other projects, Naughty Dog projects like the Intergalactic Prophet, even though no one's gonna play it. You know, and I'm like, that's wild, because I've been watching this slow train descend into destruction for a minute, dude. I called it. We all called it. I'm not the only one. I'm just a voice of many. We all called it. And I tried to warn people. I was making posts on this on my Instagram, and I had people messaging me, you know, saying like they love the show, like they think it's great, they're blah blah blah. And I'm like, you know, I don't know what to tell you, because on the one hand, I could tell you what's gonna come. I could tell you that it's gonna actually go downhill. But on the other hand, you won't believe me until you see it. And even if you see it, I don't think you're actually going to understand the problem. So I was like, we got to wait. Episode 3 comes out. Now, I didn't watch the episode. Episode 3 comes out. I was like, I bet you it was ass. Talk to people. It was ass. Episode 4 comes out. It was a little better. Wasn't. Episode 5 comes out. Unnoteworthy. Episode 6 comes out. Apparently, there's a really cool porch scene. Episode 7 comes out. Oh, show's all right. Season's done. Peace out, Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross. Both people who have thoroughly fucked The Last of Us twice. Or actually, you could kind of like put a little like one of the tiny numbers above that, like a 2 with the like exponent. Yeah, exponent 2 to the 4th power. Because to be honest, this game has been remade so many fucking times that you made the mistake on PC, on console, on remaster, on next gen, and on TV. Like, how do you fuck it up so many times? Right? And then so the show falls off. You know, viewership. Season 1 had like 8 million views. Season 2 opened up to like 5 million views. By the end of season 7, you know, they're barely getting 3. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's the fastest decline of a show's viewership than The Walking Dead. At least they managed to keep people interested for longer than that. And even barely. Because apparently a lot of people don't like season 2 of The Walking Dead. But that was when I would say when the modern gamer walked away from The Walking Dead. But like natural TV audiences probably stuck around till season 8, season 7, season 8, right? So you couldn't even last that long. And it's disappointing. So he steps down, Haley Gross steps down, leaving Craig Mazin to try. They say to try and save season 3, but to be honest, bro, there is no saving this fucking show. Craig Mazin, you can do everything you can, but there is no saving this show. Again, I haven't even touched on Bella Ramsey, the issues that people have with her casting, or even just the casting in general and the direction of what happens after the death. Why? Because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Joel's dead. Show's over. You know? Everything that happens after this is shit that we shouldn't have seen. That's how I see it. Like I didn't this week, since I was like, finally I'm going to watch what happens after, because of the fact that Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross are now stepping down, and that this dumpster fire is turning into an actual like forest fire. I want to see exactly what it was that destroyed and kicked them out of Hollywood, pretty much. Cause I'm like, you didn't step down, dog. You got fired. Like, this is just sad. You got fired. You came into Hollywood, and you know, you came in with your big ideals and your arrogant little fucking concepts that weren't strong to the art, to the screen. You should have changed it. Should have made it better. And no one said anything. You know, they let him do it. They let him have his fun. He played with all their toys, and now he's gone. And now they have to clean up this mess. I tell people all the time, I'm like, he took a shit in their living room and just walked away. He literally did, you know, is the way I can only look at it. And it's a disappointing thing because this is a great franchise, a great game, the first one at least. Ruined the second one. Season one, great, but now this shit exists. Now there's going to be blind audiences, right? There's going to be a blind little fucking mom at home. Oh, I heard The Last of Us is good. Pedro Pascal's in it. Let me check out the first season. Watch the season one. Oh, it was wonderful. I loved it. It was great. The finale was a little weird. I know. Not gonna talk about it. A little weird though. Um, and then season two, and she's just livid that they kill off Joel, and that there is nothing interesting that happens in the rest of season two. And it's all just bad. It's all just disappointing shit. So that's the state of The Last of Us. And I wish I understood just how detrimental The Last of Us was at the time. Because at the time, I didn't even know about the misleading in the articles when it came to the game and all that shit. Right? So, either way, since then, we've thoroughly covered The Last of Us. And you know what's even funnier? They released earlier I think last week, they released the fucking game again with an update that lets you play the fucking story in chronological order, meaning that you can now play part 2 in the actual correct order that it was supposed to be fucking made in. Why? Because they start to realize and have to admit that they fucked up. Because you cannot kill the main character with no explanation. You cannot try and make people care about the antagonist of the story, who you claim is not an antagonist, without no understanding prior. We have no concept of who this character is other than the one thing that she does, and we're supposed to spend the next 10 hours caring about her, running through sequences of people that we're supposed to care about who are already dead that we've killed, and make us feel bad for those choices, when it's like, bro, this is just bad writing. This is just bad storytelling. That's not how it works. We're not supposed to feel bad for the people trying to kill us. But even in this chronological order, I guarantee you it doesn't change the game. It doesn't save the game, right? Because it's not like we're going to suddenly care about Abby and her people and forget about what came already. The only thing this could possibly do is give people the Better Call Saul Breaking Bad effect, where you now, if you've never experienced The Last of Us 2 in its original order, you now have that choice. Whether you can watch it, you could play it in order, or you can play it in the correct order. And that's the only way this game is ever going to be looked at. There's the way it was made, and then there's the correct order. But I promise you, it won't revive what could have been in terms of a better story. Because just changing this story around isn't enough, in my opinion. It's enough to get by, but it's not enough to justify elements. But I'm like, you know what? I'll check it out. I'll check out the chronological order and see if I do feel better about it. See if, like, I could start to, like, because to me, it's not like justifying Abby's vendetta or whatever. At first it was, but I'm like, all right, whatever. If I see it from her perspective or whatever, then cool. We're going to do that. Great. Right? To me, that's not even the thing. The fact is, it's just an entire boring fucking process to get through. Right? Like, it's an entirely wasted sequel. When it's like, there's so many other things the sequel could have been about, and we chose to kill the character and make it about this long-ass journey for revenge, which is stupid. So, we'll see how that goes. I honestly doubt I'll play it, because I'm not going to sit through another fucking game like The Last of Us 2, no matter whether they fix the order or not. But, we'll find out. But that's my rant. That's all we're talking about when it comes to The Last of Us. And that's what's changed, is that we just needed to cover our ass and make sure that we thoroughly talked about that shit. Now, let's talk about the state of movies. We still got 20 minutes. Let's talk about the state of movies. The state of movies since 2020 has been such a wave of up and down in terms of quality, in terms of budget, in terms of concepts. There's been so many like moments in the past 5 years of great movies, of great theater events. I'm not going to get into all that. This year, we had so many movies that have come out that I think will be memorable, that I think will be relevant for a while. You know, we have, the Minecraft movie, which to me is just strange. It is just odd that we live in a world now where Jack Black, yep, Jack Black is Steve, and Jason Momoa is is a gamer, an 80s gamer. I think I haven't watched the movie. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I could actually sit through the Minecraft movie. You know, it's one of the things that I think I will have to wait till I'm like 40 to understand whether it's a good movie to exist or not. But the Minecraft movie exists, and I try to think that it does. I try to feel like it doesn't. Um, there's been so many movies that's come out this year. Like when it comes to like just this year in general, we're about halfway through the year. It's been odd. It's been cool, but it's been odd. We've had a Nosferatu. We've had we had Lilo and Stitch live action. We've had uh shit. We've had Jack Quaid, you know. Um of course Sinners, but it's been so in 20 since 2020 to 2025 for me, I've gotten a lot more attuned to like film and the craft of filmmaking, narrative, like I said before, like stories and storytelling, and the ability of what elements are required to tell a compelling story, you know? And I've become very critical of that when it comes to movies and shows. And the movies this year have been interesting. Like, okay, I can separate my opinion versus from what I think versus what a an unbiased thing is. So when it comes to the Minecraft movie, for example, right? I may think this movie is completely stupid and a waste of time. However, the objective and unbiased viewpoint, I think that the fact that they made the Minecraft movie and that it sold so much money shows that video game movies can be made and can be made well. I think the Super Mario movie came out, and that also did really well. Now, I think that another factor to that is the stars and the actors that play in those movies. If you put Jack Black on anything, I think not just from reputation, but also just from the ability of him to appeal to children, is always going to draw in a big crowd. Because even if children don't know who Jack Black is, their parents do. So their parents are going to go take them to a kid's Jack Black type movie, and their kids are going to love Jack Black because he's funny and knows how to like appeal to everybody. So to me, movies that do things like that have to be measured based on the concept versus who's in it. And I think the concept of a modern Minecraft movie, I think it was done well. It sparked an entire meme. I think it made it over it un it we underestimated as a generation, in my opinion, of young adults, whether or not this movie was actually going to be good. And we have now reached a point to me to where it's like video game movies or adaptations are more possible than not. Um, so as a movie standpoint, yeah, the Minecraft movie did well. I don't know if I'd show my kid the Minecraft movie though. Like If I had a kid right now, I probably wouldn't like, and I'm talking like a kid who would want to watch movies. I wouldn't show him that movie. I'd probably show him any other kids movie that I grew up watching, just because of the way movies are made nowadays. There's, even if money isn't the first question, it's definitely one of the first three, and it shows in pretty much most movies. Like money, and movies are only more expensive to make now for to me, which is just weird reasons. You gotta pay so much money for marketing. You gotta pay so much money to these actors for whatever reason. They should. I don't know why they need to be paid millions of dollars to read line. Like I'm not even saying this to diminish what they do. I make movies and shit, but I'm not saying that it's not hard work. But I'm saying, how does it work when you start off making 50,000 a movie to making 50 million? You know what I mean? Why does that suddenly skyrocket? Just because, yes, this movie does well, and yes, you deserve a pay raise, but how do you go from 50K to 50 mil? That's a hell of a pay raise. So to me, it's more of a expenditure that can't last. I think, without getting into the topic, because we don't have enough time, like when it comes to like AI made content, maybe that'll help balance certain salaries out, because at that point, right, you you can't, like, it's not feasible in the long run. The film industry is in debt because not every movie is a Minecraft movie and makes millions, if not $1 billion. A lot of movies fail to make their budget. Jurassic Afterbirth didn't. I'm pretty sure. Well, it probably will make its budget back, even if it's shit. Fuck. There was another movie that there pretty much every movie doesn't make back its budget these days. The only notable ones I think are Minecraft, Sinners, 28 Years. I don't know if this movie just came out, F1. I don't know if that movie made its budget back, but it literally just came out. And I'm sure there's a few others that have, but a lot don't, right? And the rise of streaming services, like these are all topics for a different day. Streaming services versus the box office. What's happening to me is that studios are trying to get a handle on what to do in terms of how to make content where the money is always flowing. And the money doesn't always flow in the theater. Sometimes it'll flow faster through through the streaming services. But that shouldn't discount the amount of money that could be made within the box office, And to me, the whole problem ultimately, though, is that the conversation is about how much money it's making, not about how much people it's impacting. And to me, that's the issue, because making films or entertainment, to me, is about telling stories and exploring the human condition. And that shouldn't come with a price tag. Yes, you have to pay people a wage or whatever in this economy, in this world, sure. But to me, the quality of the movie shouldn't be based on how much money we can make from it. You know, uh, I think that should be the last hope, is that we make millions off with this movie, but rather that we have millions of people that want to see it. You know, so the state of movies is just strange, and I think it's gonna be strange for a while. I think that with shit like AI, it's just more uncertain. Like, there's just weird shit. It's just a weird industry. There's AI film festivals now, and I watched a few, and I'm just like, I don't know if this is gonna last. Like, yes, you can use AI to make films, but to me, it's like when you use AI to make the most craziest looking weird shit that is just incomprehensible, then it's like, okay. I mean, when I say use AI to make a movie, bro, I'm just like, all right, I can't go to the Great Wall of China right now to film this scene, but maybe I can have AI generate the image of just the horizon and the Great Wall of China or some shit, because I can't afford to go all the way to China just for this shot as much as I would want to. Use it for shit like that, right? And to me, that's fine, because at the end of the day, yeah, If we have to go across the world to film this one scene, I bet you that does cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get people there, to feed them, to get them back, etc. Versus just using a program that can generate a realistic image of that place, right? So I think when it comes to films right now, we are just in so many different places. It's not guaranteed anymore of what makes sense and what works. I think the problem that we're going to really face is that the new generation of content creators are going to fuck up the concept of what movies actually are and how they're made, because so many young people are used to short form content. They're so used to content that is um, less mature for the brain. I don't even know how to like describe it, but like simpler content. They don't they don't want things that you have to figure out or have to think about. They'd rather it just be done straight to the point. And I'm like, movies are at their best when they make you think and wonder and be curious. And I don't a lot of young audiences just don't have the capacity to do that with the movie anymore. It's part of the reason we don't have original movies anymore, is because people don't want to risk the investment. Or if they do and it flops, then they blame the audience, like Pixar, for their fucking flop of a movie. When it's like, sometimes you just make a bad movie. It has nothing to do with whether it's original or not. You just made a bad movie, right? There are great original movies. Um, there's a ton of original movies being made all the time. So to me, it's not like studios are focused on the wrong things. Where it's like, I think if things were in an ideal world, it wouldn't matter if a movie was an original movie, an adaptation, a reboot, a remake, whatever, as long as it's good, like it's quality, and people would want to see it from jump. Like if it's good all the way from the beginning, like people love the John Wick series, not because the fact that John Wick barely says anything, but that's actually just a cute little element about it, right? But it's because the action is great. It's because the franchise know what it's supposed to be and doesn't try to be anything more than that. So they can keep going with these John Wick movies. They can keep going with John Wick 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And people will never get tired of it because it's the way the intent and the actual enjoyment that they had with developing that thing, you know. Now I doubt they'll go up to like John Wick 10 or whatever, but they're definitely going to do John Wick 4, maybe even John Wick 5, right? And that's because that's a concept that could be stretched up to a degree, right? It's like a rubber band. You know how far you can stretch it before that shit snaps. And the industry has been stretching so many fucking movies, so many concepts, that the rubber band done snapped and they don't even care. They don't care. So it's a nasty business, and I hate it. But studios are just not getting the message. Fuck. Okay, we got like a few minutes. Let's see. Did I cover I almost covered everything. The last thing. Dr. Umar, the diddler, and degeneracy. Now, I wrote this down, but I don't have like a specific jumping off point. I just wrote it down because I was like, maybe I could talk about these things. Maybe we could look at these things. Dr. Umar is what is called the king of Pan Africanism, and he discusses all things Black folks, African American, and bringing the unity of the Black people together and rebuild and revitalizing essentially the Black wealth of America. Now, there's plenty of videos online with Dr. Umar and what he's about. He is not about interracial dating or supporting I'm gonna just say he's not about interracial dating. If you want, he has very strong political views about how Black America can get ourselves together and what we should be doing and looking out for when it comes to our children, our family, how we associate in the world, and furthermore. Lately, I don't know if this is true, and I've been trying to get understanding of this, but lately he's been called he's been he has some drama going on, and I don't know if it's true. Let me see if I can pull up the video here. Oh, I wrote degeneracy. I should have just meant I meant Drewski. Can I pull up the Drewski clip before we look at that? Like, does it matter? Do we have time? Um, it's already 6:03. Holy shit, I'm already behind schedule. That's crazy. Let me. I'm jumping all over the place, but it's fine. Let me pull that up real quick. But we got this here mainly. So, oh wait, this ain't even it. What am I looking for? Dr. Umar. I gotta find Dr. Umar. And we're not gonna look at the whole clip. Or maybe should I just look it up here? We could just find a quick clip. So yeah, like we can, I mean, just looking at this, right? Like you get an idea. Okay, so he talks about black education, polygamy, he talks about Diddy. And all we can really say about Diddy is that the government, it seems like there's a reason everybody isn't rich. And to me, it's like, all right, well, one of the problems with everybody being rich is that everybody could get away with crimes, because clearly being rich means that you can pretty much get away. You can't get away with everything, but money will get you out of some of the worst shit. And it seems like that's the case for the diddler. So that's pretty much my full thoughts on that. Like, I don't understand. I feel like with everything that's been presented when it comes to Diddy and what's been going on, that justice was inevitable. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's convenient that he's free and that the Epstein files don't exist. You know what I mean? That's what I mean when I'm like, people with a lot of money. The reason why we all aren't rich is because then everybody would get away with every crime. And so only the real rich can get away with the most heinous of crimes. No, you know what? That's my take on we'll talk more about Diddy later. I don't want to get into it now, mainly because we don't have enough time. I want to look at this clip. We're going to add a clip here. We haven't.
Lene Stacks, Siobhan Stone, Lene Stacks, Throat Goat, Hood Rat, Jump Off, Fishy Coochie, the queen of Fishy Coochie.
So this is where I'm like, I don't know if this is actually a real thing, because so this video is talking about Dr. Umar, kind of airing out some drama that's going on with a woman who's trying to, like, I guess, like, shake him down or whatever. It's a lot of nonsense. I honestly couldn't keep up with the entire story. There was a woman that I guess he was intimate with, and his daughter was gonna kill herself. And this woman, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Because the way he tells stories isn't very fluid. Dr. Umar does this thing where he likes to say the same thing at least twice, if not 3 times. So it takes a while for him to get through the story. And Dr. Umar is an educated individual. He usually speaks with some level of tact, some level of composure, some level of respect. And in this video, in the full capacity, it's like a 30-minute video, which is why we're not watching the full thing. he's like bashing this woman, and he's like using some of the most foulest language I've ever heard him use. And I'm like, this is strange. This doesn't seem like Dr. Umar. Is this AI generated? But I can't find anything to confirm or deny that. I can't find anything online that confirms or deny this beef or this situation or this lawsuit. I can't find anything that confirms or affirms the shit that I'm seeing right here. So I'm like, I don't know if this video is legitimate. What if it's a Dr. Umar impersonator? But it's him. But like I haven't, so we're gonna look at this and just kind of get an understanding.
I believe she may have taken information regarding the bank account of FDMG.
That's the school he's building.
I discussed this with the attorneys. The attorneys told me that it would be in my advantage if Siobhan Stone, Throat Goat, or Pastor Bussy tries to access my personal account or the school's account, because that is a federal crime. I saw her privately 3 times inside of the same Philadelphia hotel after hours for no more than 2 or 3 hours. This young lady told me that she would not mind coming to care for my mother. I assured her that I would pay her, and I did pay her. And this is going to be important when I bring up the attorney in a minute, because I consulted with an attorney in Kansas City who told me that if I can prove that I paid her to care for my mother, then she can be charged with HIPAA violations for discussing my mother's personal, sensitive medical information without permission. 3 throat goat sessions turned into a 2.5-year relationship with marriage, love, masturbation. Talking about I ate out your fish tank. You have an aquarium down there. She has an aquarium down there with...
Bruh. So mean. Right? So mean. She has an aquarium down there, bro. Like, okay. Like it's... The word I would use, I would just say is like he's being actually like vulgar, right? Almost like as if it's a way to like to almost bully in a way, like it's almost like passive aggressive too, while still being vulgar about it, right? Like he's not directly saying like her pussy and shit like that, but he's using all these derogatory ass meanings and language to say something like gross about her. And I'm like, whether this is all true or not, I don't really care. But it gets to a point where it's like, how to what level do you have to keep disrespecting someone that you apparently like was intimate with, like that you've said at least 3 times, bro. And so it's just I don't know, it seemed more immature than than his usual character is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? He doesn't stoop or hit below the belt.
But every creature in
typically.
The ocean. She got squid, she got clams between her legs, she got oysters, she got shrimps between her legs, she got
he's going in way more than even I think the normal person would. Which I'm like, bro, what, like, okay, so okay, so something bad happened, okay, so why are you slamming this woman like she's Satan?
Salmon, whiting, tilapia, you name it, she got it. Squid, octopus, every funky creature is between them legs, brothers and sisters. She needs a yoni steam, a yoni dream, and a yoni clean. I want to apologize to all black women that I had to...
Like, what? She needs a yoni steam. Bro, I'm not repeating what he said. This is like, it's just is nasty language. Just say the regular language.
Details, Sister Stacy, but I got a woman who's trying to destroy my life, my credibility. She's trying to slander my mother, get my mother taken from me because I don't want to be with her in a romantic capacity.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
But
goodness.
be that as it may, we don't have to talk about that.
But we should. I can't even read the full text here. This is crazy. We can't even read the... Oh, wait. Is this a full screen? I bet you it's not the full screen. I bet you it's not the full... It's not. It's not. It's... Bruh. The laziest type of edit. All you have to do was pinch to, like, make it readable. And it's like stuff like this where I'm like, is this real? Or is this like, did someone like make this with AI or what? Because it has to either be AI made or someone impersonating him or it's real. And so I'm just like, why though? In any three of those choices though, why? It's so weird. It seems so out of character that I'm just waiting for like more information or simply more people to like be like, Dr. Umar is exposing ex lover, blah blah blah, something, whatever. But nothing's really popped up yet, and it's been like a day or two, which I feel like is more than enough time. The original video also doesn't have a ton of views, like as much as you would think for something like this. So it makes me wonder, like, is this actually legitimate? And I can't tell. But you know, that's the gist on Dr. Umar at this moment. Like this is his latest interview, right? Where he talked, like, let's just take a look. We got a second. Let's dive into some Dr. Umar. Doom. Like this all happened after this Art of Dialogue interview.
I want to ask you, how you feel about ICE deporting people?
So right now, and what's happening in the world is ICE has been, well, because Donald Trump is president again. You know, so if you're like, sometimes, I mean, if the last episode of this podcast you saw was 2020, and yeah, Biden didn't do so well is the gist. So you know, here we are, and you know, there's been ICE raids in various cities. I'm pretty sure they're still happening, no doubt. And so yeah, it is. This was 9 days ago. That was like a week ago. Yeah.
I think it's sad that people are being stripped away
crazy
from their families, places where they made their home. I will never support hurt or harm against another race. At the same time, I will not be joining the effort against the immigration. And the reason I don't work against the efforts against immigration. So for the black people who are out there protesting to help the Latinos in California stay, I have no problem with them doing that if that's what they want to do. I'm not doing that because I know how racist Mexicans are against black people.
It's every time, you know, every time you think he's just gonna be like, oh no, all right, he's cool with the Mexicans, he's cool with someone. Nah, they're racist too. He's like, bro, everybody is racist towards black folks, man. I can't do it. I can't participate in the stuff against immigration because, you know, there's too many of them that hate too many of us.
I know how poorly they treat us in California. I'm over there often enough. I cannot help a racist who doesn't care about me. I'm not going to do that. Okay.
See, now this is my problem with Dr. Umar, to be honest. Like, this is my actual problem with him, is that his reality is peace, love, and Pan-Africanism, but his reality is tribalism at the end of the day, in my opinion. It's more so like it's only peace and love to black people, but we live on this continent with so many other races and so many other cultures and so many other people. You cannot pretend like they either don't exist, don't matter, or don't have the same, don't like deserve the same level of respect or help just because they're a minority of them don't like us, just like a minority of us don't like other races, right? But that doesn't stop all of us as a whole from helping people who may need it. So that to me, that's where I kind of like step aside when it comes to like what he believes for real, because I'm like, dude, I mean, you can't say all these things, and be like, it's cool if other black people want to help them, but I'm not because Mexicans are typically racist towards black people. Well, look who's uneducated, look who's psychologically has some things to work out still. Because you can't in my opinion, you can't preach black excellence, black success, black development, without having like some awareness that other races exist, and that though it's important to build ourselves up, it's not just about us, and that we can build ourselves up without having to tear other people down or forget that we have the ability to help them fight, because that's all we've done, so it's like, to me, irregardless of if there's races, Mexicans out there of whatever race, right? Like if someone's going through a situation, right, like with this whole immigration shit, right, at the end of the day, the way I look at it, I'm like, these are things my people have been going through for forever and still and constantly. So if someone else is a part of that fight now, the only thing I feel like that makes sense is to take their hand and be like, don't worry, I got you. You're not alone in this. You don't have to feel like you have to go through this alone. In fact, my people are going to help your people. We're going to grow in numbers, so we only had 2 of us. Now this time we got a whole army. Like there ain't no way they're doing this shit again. So to me, that's the mindset that it should be, where it's like we stand together. We don't have to be, we can be together but apart if that's how you want to do it, but we also don't have to be. Like it just, to me, that just makes it harder. So I don't know. That's where
And I
he
believe that we
separates
need
from
to
me.
fight for ourselves and stop fighting for everybody else, Art. I don't like the fact that every race considers black people their de facto advocates and protesters. I don't like that. People automatically assume that African people, this is global, Art, this is not just America, this is global. People automatically assume that African people are supposed to rush in the defense of other groups. I don't like that.
I don't know what that means though. I don't know about black people defending Indian people. You know what I mean? I ain't never met a black person who runs up and defends an Indian person. Uh, so I don't think that's true globally. I don't think that's true. I think that's true, and I haven't traveled around the world. I think that's true here because when it comes down to it, black people and Mexican people typically grow up in the same type of conditions and with the same struggles when it comes to California. So a lot of the times we are closer when it comes to fighting for each other, fighting with each other, because the same issues that they're fighting, we're also fighting. And the ones that we don't have to experience, the ones that we don't face, like immigration, and the ones that they do on a daily basis, makes us empathetic, because the idea of your family being taken away from you or you being taken away from your family should kind of spark a, oh shit, how can I help type of mentality, other than I'm gonna look out for myself. When it's like, yeah, you could, but like, are you just gonna ignore the screams from your neighbor then because you don't want to die? It's almost like a cowardice approach, in my opinion. Whereas like, we can work on ourselves, yeah, but we could also work with other people too. You can do both. We're capable. The humans can do amazing things.
When I didn't rush in defense of Gaza, although I said that I don't want to see anybody hurt, I don't want to see nobody murdered, I don't like the fact that Israel cut off their food, their water. That's wrong, and I don't support it. But I won't be giving any energy to the effort because there's African people hurting across this world. And charity begins at home. So until Haiti is free, I can't cry for Gaza. Until Congo and those child laborers in the Congo who are dying, I can't cry for Gaza. Okay? Until the genocide in Ethiopia is over, until the humanitarian crisis in Somalia and Sudan is over, until my brothers and sisters in South Africa have repossessed themselves of their land and their resources. I can't cry for Gaza. If somebody asks me, I'm going to tell the truth. Those people are being done wrong. They're being genocided. They're being mistreated, and it is wrong. I have no problem saying that. I will always speak truth to power, no matter who's involved. But to ask me to go protest for another group who practices racism against Africans right there in the Middle East, I'm not going to do that. Go to California and protest another group, help another group who practice racism against black people in California. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to work against the Mexican people. I'm going to work against the Arabs, the East Indians, the Chinese. I'm not working against no people because I know what my people have been through. But I cannot come to your aid until all African people are free.
Again, I mean, it seems more so of a cope, or even just a inability to, like, I don't know, actually want a peace on earth reality, where it's like, what do you mean you can't? I mean, I understand if you're like, I don't want to participate in a protest for this situation because when it comes to like my own culture, there's all these other things that already have my attention. Okay. Not, but then it's like, it's another thing to then say as well, is like, because I can't participate because of all these other things going on. And so I'm not going to stop to help protest people who have only been racist towards me. Like, cause it almost makes it sound like they deserve it. Like you're saying they deserve like, if it sucks, it feels bad. And then parentheses, but they deserve it. You know, that's the way it sounds to me. So I'm like, I guess, but do what you can do. But I feel like to be like, you can't sympathize or empathize with just wrongdoing in general kind of misses the point of what you're trying to do. Whereas like, I think, yeah, I'm not going to go on a rant with this. We're done. We are at time. So, did we get everything? I don't know. Did we cover everything? I don't know. How will this come out? I don't know. But we did it. And I think next episode we will cover a lot more interesting topics now that we've caught up, now that we've kind of just cleared the air on from 2020 to 2025. There's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to talk about. And we'll do it all here. So, until then, take it easy. If this video pops up on your thing, watch it. Watch the whole thing. I say that at the end of the video. Watch the whole thing. Maybe I'll put in watch the whole thing. Share it, like it. Check out the Twitch. Check out all the stuff. Check out all this. There's a lot of stuff. There's Twitch, there's Spotify, there's this, there's well, I guess that's it. But more to come. Until then, this has been Father B. I have a father applause. I have an applause. So loud. I have an applause button. So thank you. This was awesome. We've done it. We've done the impossible. Give it up for ourselves. I know. Wonderful. Thank you. Seriously. Whoops. You were. I know I did so well. You almost did it twice. So anyway, let's get the fuck out of here. All right.